Back to another Scrancam. I'm joined again by Deck, and we've got some fantastic content coming for you today. We've got a little look at Raphael Varane, what he brings to Manchester United, quite possibly, if and when we do sign him in the near future. And then we've got a little bit of chat back about the Euros and possibly a look forward to the Premier League next season. First of all, Deck, thanks for joining me again. How are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm a bit warm, but also that's probably because I've got a hoodie on and my hood up. But yeah, I just feel comfy. It just feels comfy, Cam.
So why don't you tell the ladies and gentlemen why you've got a hoodie on and your hood up?
Why? I don't know. I'm not feeling the hair today. I've had a bit of a bad hair day. And as we know, I've had a few comments about the old hair, so I thought I'd keep it under wraps tonight.
So lads, if you're watching, don't cyberbully Deck, otherwise he'll turn up next time in a full balaclava at this rate. But yes, anyway, so thank you for joining us, and let's get into the show. So first things first, a little break from football. It is finally, after what seems like an absolute age, the end of the season. And we've got a little break from now, about, 15 hours till United play again tomorrow. Obviously, a bit of a big one because most of our players from the Euros, from the Copa America or whatever, aren't actually back. But it is what it is. But it's what it is. We've got a game tomorrow, obviously. So first of all, summer signings: Jadon Sancho in first, and Raphael Varane. What do you make of those two? And especially Varane, what can he bring that we don't have already?
Oh. I mean, I'm laughing because I think about 5 months ago, I think we've had this conversation before, Cam, where I didn't think Varane's that good. I think he's a bit overrated.
Was this around the time when he had an absolute shocker against City in the Champions League?
I'm not too sure.
Because I think that for a lot of people, that was the first time we've seen Varane play a big Champions League game and get so many things wrong. He made such a mess of it. Dex disappeared, but don't worry because I'm still here. But yeah, so Adam Talk Sports says, hi, how are you doing, Adam? How are you? When is Jadon Sancho announced? Honestly, like the rest of the football world, I have got no idea when Jadon Sancho is announced. Hopefully fairly soon, but I have no idea what time I've got. My guess for Jadon Sancho would be Monday because United tend to announce our big signings on a Monday for whatever reason. Go on.
Sorry, what did you even hear anything I said about Varane?
We said I heard you say that you think he's massively overrated.
Well, I have said that in the past, is what I was saying.
Big U-turn.
I have said that in the past. I'm going to stick by my swords and say he's an overrated footballer. Yeah. However, I do think for a weird reason, I think he's suited more to the Premier League than he probably is La Liga. To be honest with you, I just think it doesn't really matter if you've got speed in La Liga. I think we've said it many times. Is Lindelof the fastest player in the world?
No.
Could he go to La Liga and be a fantastic centre back?
Yes, Victor Lindelof could be absolutely unreal in La Liga.
Well, there you go. I mean, that's all I've got to say, really. It's basically about being on the floor, being on the ground, and as you know, for someone like meant to be the best there is, Virgil van Dijk. He plays all on the floor. He doesn't, he rarely tackles like Maldini. I'm not comparing him to Maldini. He's a Liverpool player at the end of the day, but he doesn't. He rarely goes to the ground. Varane doesn't really like going to ground much. It's that type of, I don't know. He's kind of like, he is the yin to Maguire's yang, really, isn't he?
I think he's just such an assured presence. It's a good thing to see. Toblerone says hi, and he also says on YouTube, hi, it's Toblerone from Twitch. How are you doing? So H is saying, do you like the new kit? I think in person it actually looks quite nice. What are your thoughts on the new kit, Deck?
I don't know. It's like the zebra one. Every time I see it, it looks better and looks bad. Like it changes every single time. I think if it's got that stripe down it, like that stripe you see, you don't see it in some pictures. But it's like a 2-tone, 3-tone red. It goes like red, dark red, light red, dark red.
It's like going down the shirt that way.
Yeah, if it has that, great. If it doesn't, then I'm not sure. I can't tell if it's the best kit we've ever made. Not really, but like a really nice kit is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Or, an awful kit. But to be fair, all of our kits are not really awful. They seem to just get better with age. Like, I look back on, the Black Badge United kit. When that first came out, I was like, what is this? And then now I love it. It's a great kit, I think.
I mean, for me, I think it's just one of those. I think it is really nice. The only criticism I think is fair is that it does look like a Sunday League kit, because it kind of does in a way. But
yeah, it looks really thin, doesn't it? Like it looks like it's made out of thin material.
yeah,
But I also like that it's long sleeved. All of them
Yeah.
are pretty long
I
sleeved.
like the long sleeve looks so good on some of the players in the pictures. Did you see TalkSport says Stones is better than Varane? That's a joke. Varane could change our defence. I agree. Sam says, how are you lads? We're fantastic, Sam. How are you doing?
Yeah,
It's been a while.
Ancho, I think, I think Ancho, failed his medical completely. I think he's got bronchitis as Ancho. He's not really well. Sancho, on the other hand, I'm not too sure, but Ancho definitely failed his medical.
Yeah, my guess on Sancho is I do think he'll be announced on Monday. I think that's the only thing that's telling me that is that we've announced some big signings in the past on Mondays. Also, I see on Twitter. So hopefully Sancho gets announced on Monday. Now, back on Raphael Varane then. What can he bring? Well, the whole point is that Raphael Varane is going to replace Victor Lindelof. So Dak, sum up what you think Victor Lindelof's biggest weaknesses are, and we can look at how Sancho maybe counteracts those.
Sancho counteracts that.
Sorry, Varane counteracts that.
Aerial ability.
Yep.
I think strength off the ball. Physicality in general. I'm not like we just said a minute ago. I'm not too sure Lindelof's built for the physicality of the Premier League, where I think Varane is. Big frame, big lad, well filled out. He's not just fast. He's also quite strong. He's also got like that. Paul Pogba's not slow. I mean, Varane's faster than Pogba, I'd imagine. But the way Paul Pogba was also really hard to get off the ball.
Yeah,
it's almost like that. That's what Varane has, and he's also got that almost. I'm not comparing it, but it's almost like that Rolls Royce Van Dijk type of player. He's quite regal in the way he plays.
That presence, that confidence that he's got about himself and on the ball. Lindelof and Maguire just don't do well next to each other. What do you think on this?
I think that's a fair assessment. I don't know why though, because I don't know if it's just because Tuanzebe played one fluke game, but that's how I think he can play against PSG. But he played with and alongside Lindelof and Shaw, didn't he? That day.
He did.
And he was fantastic. Now, every time he's played replacing Lindelof, he's been awful. Like when he's played with Maguire, and I don't know why. I suppose they are two captains in a way. Maybe they're two closely cut from the same cloth. I don't know. But I do agree that they can't really work together, Lindelof and Maguire. But I do think they're not as bad as what people think. And that's mainly because we have a gaping hole in midfield.
I think people do massively overhate that partnership. They're nowhere near as bad as people make out. Yes, they're not a perfect partnership, but they're nowhere near as bad as people are making out all the time. And with what you say on Axel, I think what I've heard from people that supposedly have sources in the club is that when Lindelof in particular is really, really vocal. He's a massive calming influence and a massive presence in that team. He's constantly talking to people around him, telling them where to be, where to go. And Tuanzebe is also a leader. But apparently when Tuanzebe plays alongside Harry Maguire, and sometimes alongside Lindelof, but more so when he plays alongside Maguire, Tuanzebe is a bit more reserved. He knows that he's not the senior player in that combination. So he does go back into his shell a bit. He isn't as loud and vocal as he is when he plays alongside Lindelof. And I think those sorts of aspects, which we don't really get to see, whether you're on TV, whether you're at the stadium, you don't really see the aspects of the communication between the players, that sort of stuff. That is what I think they're struggling with at the moment a little bit. Is Varane a ball-playing centre-back? Look, Varane is fantastic on the ball. He is really, really good on the ball. Ben's put Discord in the chat on Twitch. Now, I'll share screen quickly. So the main point we talked about there, in terms of the thing that Lindelof is worse at than biggest weakness Lindelof has is in the air. So if I bring this up now, and the good news is that with the end of the season, I have all of a sudden got a little bit of time for more stuff. And so what we've got is, hold on, let me bring that up. So what we've got up here, we've got a little, hang on, where's myself and Dak gone?
I can't really, to be honest.
There we go. What's up?
I said I can't see that aerial prowess thing.
Right, I will zoom in. I will zoom in a little bit on it. So this is the first time we've done this on the show. So the important thing to note, right, is if you've got this in full screen, you'll be able to see a lot better, obviously, if you're on a larger screen. But the important bits here are Raphael Varane up here in this top corner, right up at the top. In terms of, so on the axis going upwards, that is the aerial duel win percentage. Raphael Varane right near the best. This is the top 5. This is the La Liga and Premier League. But the whole thing, so I've taken out the other leagues because it makes it simpler to see. But amongst the top centre-backs in Europe in the air, Raphael Varane's up there. And I know La Liga is probably not the best test in the sense that you're not having the same amount of physical strikers as you get in the Premier League. But even so, he's an absolute way above Victor Lindelof. So Varane is up here, where the mouse is now. And if I bring that down here, that is where Victor Lindelof is. He's so much lower, and he's in the sort of general clump of decent enough centre-backs in the air.
Yeah, that's a lot better than I thought he'd be.
Well, the thing is, with Victor Lindelof, again, we said earlier about the partnership, it gets overhated. People just abuse it for the sake of abusing it. But actually, Lindelof's not that bad in the air. But again, part of the problem is the perception, really. Because if you're a striker and you know you're playing against Van Dijk, even if, let's say, statistically, Victor Lindelof was better in the air than Van Dijk, that's obviously not the case. But let's say that was the case. Because there's a perception that Lindelof can be bullied, as a striker, you're going to put yourself into him more. You're going to try harder against him. Whereas Varane, people think he's an assured defender, he's good in the air, which is true. Statistically, it's backed up. But because he's got that presence again, that counts for almost as much in a lot of ways as the actual statistics.
Has this got all of the Premier League and La Liga players in?
All of the defenders, yes. So as you can see, Harry Maguire is here. So along the sort of left to right axis, you've got the aerial duels 1 per 90. That's the raw numbers of how many of the 1 per 90. Harry Maguire, going upwards, he's amongst the best. So his aerial success rate is amongst the best in Europe. And going to the right, he wins so many per game. So you can see how important he really is to Manchester United. Other notable ones, Tyrone Mings there. Jules Koundé as well is down here.
I was going to ask about Koundé.
I thought you might bring Koundé up. So he's another one because, I mean, Jules Koundé, he's 5'10", isn't he? So a lot of people are saying height-wise, that's not quite what you want from Premier League centre-half. Aerially, he's pretty good. I mean, you're not going to say Eric Dyer, Ben Mee are the best in the air, but they're not bad, are they?
Where's Luke Shaw on this as well? Just interesting.
Luke Shaw. So I believe Luke Shaw is around, I think he's around here. Yeah, he's somewhere in this clump here. Might be that one of these. But yeah, Luke Shaw's in this clump here. So he's not amongst the best by any means. He's near Reguilon. He's near Luke Shaw. There he is. He's near Reguilon. He's near. He's actually. You know what? Luke Shaw's actually not far off Ben White. So you talk about levels here. Arsenal signing a centre back who aerially is not actually that much better than Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw's not bad in the air, but bear in mind again that Luke Shaw is mainly playing up against wingers. I suppose that does make a bit of a difference. But yeah, you can see that United's back four, compared to a lot of the other fullbacks, look, Kyle Walker-Peters is lower down, Kieran Tierney. So Luke Shaw's up here, all the way where the mouse is at the moment. Kieran Tierney is all the way down here. Levels. That's all there is to it. Right, now, quick couple of messages in the chat. Will Ahmad start tomorrow? I think if he's... So I've heard talk that Ahmad might actually be with the Ivory Coast squad for the Olympics. So I'm not sure in that case that he is going to start. Yeah. I don't really know where he is. Is it true Chelsea are trying to hijack a deal for Varane? I think that's absolute nonsense. I think if Chelsea wanted Varane, they would have been in there from the start. Sure.
Varane's a United player, guys. Just I'm willing to put my life on it, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's happening. Wan-Bissaka, Shaw, Maguire, Varane, and what a back four.
It's okay. Yeah, there's just one player there that needs to be moved on, and then we know we're nearly there.
Are you still hating Aaron Wan-Bissaka?
I'm not hating him because I want him to be good, don't I? But he's got this season. He's got 2 seasons. I'll give him 2 more seasons to sort his head out. If not, got to go.
Do you mean in terms of going forward? Is ability on the ball?
Well, and defensively.
Yeah, that's fair enough, I suppose. But so defensively, what in terms of on the back post, tracking runners, positioning,
positioning, yeah.
The other thing I do want to draw a bit of attention to before I get rid of this this graph is one player on the far right, Nat Phillips. I mean, obviously as a Scouser, we're not his biggest fans, myself and Dak, but at the same time, that deserves a bit of credit. The fact that he's aerially carrying that Liverpool defence, it would seem, in Van Dijk's absence. The number of aerial duels, he's winning some of the most aerial duels in the Premier League. Well, not some of the most aerial duels per 90 in the Premier League, which is ridiculous. Obviously, it tells you a lot about the sort of types of chances that Liverpool are conceding. You can see that a lot of teams are crossing against them. A lot of teams are putting the ball in the air. But what you can also see is that Nat Phillips is standing up to the test. Those are fantastic stats, and fair play to him.
Do you know where Anderson is from that played for Fulham?
Joachim Anderson.
Yeah.
I believe he's. I'll have a quick look finding him, but yeah, for now, we'll keep going on some of the comments. Let's go with Adam Talk Sports is saying with Sancho, Wan-Bissaka will be able to do what he's good at, as Sancho will do most attacking. Yep,
What's he good at? What's he good at?
Yeah, that fair enough. that is one for Adam Talk Sports to answer. What is Aaron Wan-Bissaka good at? Tackling.
Why does he have to tackle? Because he makes a mistake positionally.
True, right. Joao Cancelo's there. Right, I've another quick look for what's his name? See if he's there. Got to be somewhere. Don't know why Pascal Gross is in there. Obviously played in defence once. Ferland Mendy is doing terribly, by the way. Obviously, one thing to bear in mind with this chart, John Stones is right up there in the top bins, by the way. He's really improved in the air in the last few seasons. But one thing to bear in mind is that, for all the La Liga players, I think La Liga, to win the aerial duels across a league season, it is easier than in the Premier League because there are less physical strikers, less height in general, and less balls in the air. So it is probably easier in La Liga. So bear that in mind with the comparisons, but I do think it is still a useful chart to show. Obviously, the important bits, Jules Koundé, very good aerially. Raphael Varane, absolutely fantastic, elite in the air. And that is a massive improvement from Victor Lindelof, who is there. Now, I'll get rid of that chart so we can get ourselves back on here.
Ben thinks he's funny, and I tell you what, Ben, you know who I am, you know where I live, and I know where you live. So if you want to go one-on-one with the great one, then, you know, he's good at defending, is he, Adam Talks? But is he good at defending now? But is he? Is he good at defending?
Yeah, is he good at defending? Because there's a lot more to defending than just tackling. Adam then goes on to say, best one-on-one fullback in the world. I think defensively, I don't think anyone would disagree. Maybe not even just fullback, possibly player. That'd be bold, but maybe the best player in the world.
Yeah, I would say that, you know, if we played in small nets, you'd probably be the least liked player that I'd want to try and get the ball past.
Yeah, if you're playing in sort of a 1v1 channel and all you could play against any player in the world, you put Lionel Messi there. The one player I think he would struggle most against is Wan-Bissaka.
Probably.
Or Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Or Neymar.
I think, yeah, probably. But what I would say is if I was playing in a team, I'd probably be licking my lips as a left back or left winger, to be honest. If my manager had any tactical nous, anyway. Because if he did, then he'd just be pulling them out of position all day long, like he always does. Always gets dragged to the penalty spot. He always gets dragged back to
part of him getting dragged to the centre spot, though, is that him holding Lindelof's hand because he knows Lindelof's not good in the air?
Is he good in the air?
What, Varane? Or Wan-Bissaka? I don't know why Wan-Bissaka's not the best in the air, but he's okay. When he's actually in the right place, he's okay. But I think defending the far side is a problem. But also, to be fair to Wan-Bissaka on this, it's not like Kyle Walker, who now was absolutely fantastic at the Euros and is a mainstay for City now. End of last season, he was in pretty much every game for Guardiola's team. But Kyle Walker took years to get good at that. Absolute years. So hopefully with time, Wan-Bissaka can learn that. But it is a problem now. WP, the football genius, says Maguire and Varane and a set-piece coach, treble incoming. Yeah, so Eric Ramsey obviously appears to have been brought in to look at set pieces, look at individual improvements for players. That could be a good thing. Obviously, set pieces United were terrible last season. I genuinely think if we can sort out our set pieces going forward, offensively, we should be able to score 5 to 10 more goals a season from it because we don't score basically any goals from set pieces. Really, going forward.
Right.
And we can see plenty.
what I will say is, have you heard this thing about the way that we've structured the Sancho deal, which is like, it's crazy. Like, it's absolutely crazy. We're playing something like £5 a year or something. You know what I mean? It's crazy. And we're doing the same thing with Varane.
Yeah.
So it leaves the door open for, even if we keep Pogba, to get a defensive midfielder.
Yeah.
Now we're linked with Rice. I don't want Declan Rice.
The thing is, right, we'll come on to that in a second. I just want to do these last couple of comments first. Varane ironically, is at his best when he doesn't have defensive protection. His form took a dip after Casemiro was introduced. Well, maybe if we don't get a defensive mid, then that could be the way. Or if we get Locatelli, who's fantastic, but is probably going to leave us a little bit more exposed, then potentially Varane will be even better. But, right, come on to a defensive mid. And one of the things I've seen a lot of rumours about recently is that United are going to a 4-3-3. And obviously, we know last season, Ole preferred the 4-2-3-1, a lot of McFred. Although that said, he did seem to start the season with a 4-3-3. It was only when Spurs absolutely mauled us that he then decided, oh no, we can't do that. We're not strong enough in the midfield. So I think if he wants to go to a 4-3-3, it's clear we need to get a defensive midfielder.
Yeah.
But then, even if we do get a defensive midfielder in, do you think that 4-3-3 can work?
Yeah.
And who would you need as a defensive midfielder for it to work?
To be honest, it all depends how Paul Pogba plays. It's as simple as that. If you can guarantee Paul Pogba playing his progressive passes, getting the ball forward, playing well, you do get Declan Rice, because defensively he is immaculate. And if you have that person just to shield that back four, we probably won't concede a goal for 20 games. If we've got Shaw, Maguire, Varane, Henderson in net, or De Gea in net, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka or Trippier, depending if we get him. But going forward, I'd worry about us having the same problems as we had last season in terms of Bruno dropping deep, not being able to get on the ball, this, that, and the other.
Is that as a 4-3-3 though? Because if Bruno's dropping deep and you've got the 4-3-3, the idea is you've got Bruno and Pogba further up the pitch. So even if Bruno does drop deep, Pogba's still in those areas, so he can create problems for the opposition.
Well, this is what I'm saying. I was saying that it all depends on how Pogba plays. If Pogba goes back to how he was, to be fair, if Pogba played how he played from I think it's the end of November until the start of Feb, 4-3-3 works all day long with Rice, especially with Rice. He would be the player you'd want, to be honest. He's not the player I'd have. I'd probably go for what you said, Cam. I'd probably go for a Locatelli, someone who can play them balls in. And the reason why I'd probably do that is because, well, it all depends on Pogba. I mean, it's not in how he plays, but if he stays, you probably do go for someone like Declan Rice, because defensively great, can sometimes pass a ball forward, but you put your house on him to protect your back four.
Well, this is the thing. In the last week or so, and I'll come on to WP's next comment in a second, I've been back and forth between Locatelli and Pogba, or that Locatelli type player and Paul Pogba. WP thinks 4-3-3 is a terrible idea. We get absolutely smashed. I think
Didn't we go on a massive run with it? Did we go on a massive run with that post-lockdown on a 4-3-3 where we had Matic, Pogba, Bruno?
No, that was... Oh, yeah, no, we did, yeah. Although, to be fair, Pogba was sitting quite deep, rather than being Pogba was deeper rather than playing as an out-and-out 10. Basically, City played with 2 10s, essentially. It wasn't quite like that. We should go for Zachariah, he says. So, right, this is the meat and bones of it. 4-3-3 requires higher ball retention for Pogba on the left, a defensive mid, and a massive improvement in our pressing. All very unlikely things. Yeah, agree with that. But if we think about a 4-3-3, and the way most people imagine a 4-3-3 right now are what Manchester City's doing, right? Agreed?
Yeah, I would agree.
And if we think about the way City do things, right? City have, so when they go forward, they basically play in essentially a 2-3-5. So what they end up with is 2 centre-backs at the back, or sometimes a 3-2-5. You get 2 centre-backs at the back, maybe with a defensive mid joining them, or maybe a full-back staying deep. But the important point is the wingers stay really wide on both sides. You've then got the striker and the 2 10s or 2 8s in the middle, offering threat in the central areas. So the important points there are that to get that attacking shape, you've got to have that front 5. That front 5 needs 2 players holding the width. You need 3 players in the middle. If United try and do that, who is in those positions? Holding the width, you would probably go for something asymmetric. You'd probably have Luke Shaw on the left holding the width, and on the right, maybe you go with you can go Sancho or you can go Rashford on the right-hand side, holding the width on that side. And what that means is that on the left, obviously, if you play Rashford as a left winger or Sancho as a left winger, whoever's playing on that left wing can tuck in a bit, shoots Luke Shaw's holding the width. Yeah.
Is it a lot like Mourinho at Inter when he had one left back that would bomb up and he'd have a right back that would also make up like a back three type of thing?
Exactly. So essentially what you're doing is rotating that team. You're pivoting that team. So Wan-Bissaka would sit a bit deeper in a back three. And then you've got Luke Shaw bombing on down the other side. So you've got Shaw and whoever's on the right wing holding the width. You've got Rashford and one of the 10s as basically inside forwards, if you like, operating in the pockets, trying to look for angles there. Then you've got your striker as well. So that's how it, in theory, works. So what you probably have then in that situation is you go with, let's say, you'd have Bruno on the right side in the half spaces, acting as a 10 there. So Bruno and Rashford flanking Edinson Cavani. Do we think that would work? I mean, the problem then is that with that 5, what you leave is you are potentially a bit exposed because your back 3 of Wan-Bissaka, Varane, and Maguire. To be fair, with Varane, that's a lot stronger because of Varane's pace. But again, there's a massive gap down that left side. Maguire's not the best for pace, and also in that midfield area, who is there to protect the defence? That's the problem because the players that are left are whatever defensive mid we'd sign and Paul Pogba, and that isn't. I'm not convinced that's enough to protect the defence.
Well, if you're looking for protecting the defence, I don't think there is a better player than Declan Rice for that.
So Declan Rice, in that sense, that is what's persuading me. Declan Rice is the man to go for. But again, back to what WP was saying, in terms of the way, obviously he thinks a massive improvement in pressing is needed. I think a massive improvement on the ball is needed because so often we see, especially with McTominay and Fred, against a lot of the teams we play against, where they sit deep, rather than, let's say, you've got our back 3 or back 4, whatever we're playing with at that time, then you've got the opposition strikers, and then McTominay and Fred. Rather than doing that, normally it's the whole defence, well, whatever shape they're in at the time, whether it's a 2, 4, or 3 that are left, you've got the defence and McTominay and Fred, and then you've got the opposition strikers, the opposition midfield. So for McTominay and Fred, and for all of those defenders, they've got to get through 2 opposition lines to get the ball forward. What we'd have to do with Rice and Pogba is make sure they're always positioned a little bit higher. Now, it does leave risk in terms of one ball over the top and the strikers are against our defenders, but you've got to take those risks to get better on the ball. Mert's saying there's a lot of DMs on the market that are not as expensive as Rice. Maybe Ndidi, Sander Berger, Zakaria, Polina, or Locatelli.
Probably wouldn't go for any of them, to be honest. Well, I definitely wouldn't be going for Zakaria or Polina. Locatelli, maybe. Ndidi, maybe.
No, I think Ndidi I wouldn't go for. I think the one thing Ndidi you could be 100% sure of with Wilfred Ndidi is that you get defensive volume. He makes so many challenges every single game he plays in. And to be fair, he's good at them. He's effective. He doesn't lose many either. But the issue is that he gets dragged out of position so much, and on the ball, he is not good enough.
I think, positionally, I think Rice is better than him.
I mean, I've heard a lot about Polina. I haven't watched him yet. You know what? I might scout Polina, try write a little report on him. Ben, what is this? What is that meaning? No one finished. Unsure what that means, to be honest. So WP says we'd have a 3-1-6 attacking structure, not a 3-2-5. We don't have the width holding wingers like City, and Wan-Bissaka can absolutely not sit in a back 3. Well, I disagree that we don't have the width holding wingers like City. I agree on the left side, we don't. But on the right side, if Jadon Sancho plays there, I know he does like to cut inside with the ball, but where he receives the ball initially is typically quite wide. And that's all you need to, that's all they really need in terms of being a width holding winger, is that you receive the ball in wide areas to start with. Because that's where you get the stretching the defence. What you do after that doesn't really matter because you stretch the defence before you've got the ball. But yeah, what do you mean in terms of Wan-Bissaka can't sit in a back 3? The problem I think, though, is that with Wan-Bissaka, if you're trying to play a system like this, he can't really invert and play as a defensive mid like Cancelo did for a while, can he? He can't tuck in, really. He's not good enough on the ball. Positionally, he's terrible. Wan-Bissaka is actually a massive, I hate to say it, he's a bit of a problem for this system, isn't he? Whatever system we try and play. If he can't sit in a back 3, where can he go? Apart from positioning him on the touchline, which means he's less useful for stopping counters, where do you put him? what do you do with him?
Exactly.
Romano said 3 weeks ago, we'll 100% sign a centre-back, and Varane is the only guy we are in for right now. So,
yeah. Varane's a United player. Go and get him on your shirts, trust me.
The only question is, what number do we give him? Do we take the number 4 of Phil Jones? I hope so, personally.
Who's number 6?
Really? Paul Pogba. WP said the CDM would fall into the back 3 and Wan-Bissaka would provide width. Yeah, I mean, especially, to be fair, if you want that to happen, Declan Rice is a good player to do that with. Wan-Bissaka providing width, that is quite possible. Is there any way I can download the clip and send it back so you can edit it? Yes, I'll give that a go now. Right, Dak, you can talk about some comments for a second whilst I try to download this clip.
Well, let's see if any comments come through, Cam.
All right.
The big thing is, though, with Varane is that it's just a step in the right direction. And it's a sign of intent as well from the board, you know. We haven't agreed a fee yet. Damn you, a lot of confidence, to be fair. Why wouldn't you be? It is all but done. Well, yeah, it's all but done. I mean, it's going to take probably another week. It'll probably be next Monday when something's announced, I'd imagine. Not the Monday coming, the Monday after. So probably the start of August, I imagine, it would be done for Varane. The thing is with Varane, do we take Phil Jones' number off him? Do we? What number do we give him? Do we give Phil Jones number... Can't give him number 10 because Rashford's got that. I was going to say, for 10 years at the club. What number is actually not taken? It'd probably be Manchester United's way to go and give them the number 7. Give Phil Jones the 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, WP, I agree. It'd probably be around 55 million euros. It's between 45 and 55 is what I've seen floating around. I think what will happen is we won't be paying that up front now. I think we'll be paying something like 10 million a season or 15 million a season. Crazy.
Again, you've got to give a lot of credit to United, the people who are making the deals, because the financing they seem to have done on it is brilliant, especially on the Sancho one. That seems fantastic.
Yeah, the Sancho one's crazy. I mean, it rivals the one of Thiago at Liverpool. 5 million a season over 4 years, 20 million.
For Thiago?
Yeah, that's pretty. You've got to be skint, though, haven't you, not to be able to afford 20 million for a player like him?
Yeah, but 5 million for this.
Oh, come off it, Cam. He's unbelievable. He's absolutely unbelievable, Cam. Don't be saying that to me.
No,
I don't think United now.
55 mil will be the fee, you think? Well, the thing is, have you seen the rumours? He called Rio Ferdinand to try and get him in to United, but Moise didn't want him.
Moise. I'm sorry to say again, it's Moise.
99 Jones. I'd love Phil Jones to get the 99 shirt.
Do you think we'll ever see him again?
What?
Do you think we'll ever see him again in the United shirt proper?
Well, maybe tomorrow against Derby. So Sam said earlier, team predictions against Derby. I've got the United website up on. So the players that are currently in this squad, I think, is so Lingard returned to training on Friday, so he's probably available.
No. Yeah, but I doubt he's going to play from Friday, is he?
Yeah, true. Will Fish, John Bernard, Galbraith, Joe Hugill, or Hugill, however you say it. Mate Kovar in goal, Shortire, Dylan Levitt, Elanga, Hannibal. Ted Mengi is available. Pereira, Palistri, Jimmy Garner. Nathan Bishop, Tahith Chong have gone already, so they're not available. Lee Grant, Juan Mata, and Matic.
Where's Mason?
Yeah, Mason Greenwood, Brandon Williams, Alex Tellez, Axel Tuanzebe, and Wan-Bissaka should also be involved. So actually, we should see a lot of first-team players here. So in goal, hopefully we'll see, well, not hopefully, but we'll see either, well, Tom Heaton would be good to see. I was about to say, Lee Grant. But yeah, Heaton or Grant in goal. Wan-Bissaka, Tuanzebe, maybe Will Fish alongside him, and then Alex Tellez or Williams at left-back. In midfield, we'll probably see Matic at the base, alongside Jimmy Garner, I suspect.
I'd like to see a pivot of Garner and Levitt again. They haven't played together for a season or two now. That
would be good to see, but at the same time, I think at this point, Ole will probably go with the experience of Matic. I think Matic won't play the full game, obviously, so I think it'll be Garner and Levitt to finish the game, but I think Matic will start. Then in front, we could even see Ted and Mengi in defence, actually. But yeah, in front of them, I reckon we'll see Elanga on one side, maybe Tellers on the other wing, and Hannibal through the middle, hopefully, or Mata.
It's a hard one. He's got quite a bit, to be fair. I mean, that team that we picked against Wolves tore Wolves apart. So
yeah, exactly.
I know, like 90% of the players are there.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously Mason Greenwood starting up top, I hope. Leave Jones at Derby, man. Yeah, wouldn't be a bad shout, would it? Just forget him. Just leave him off the coach. Heaton in that, yeah, probably. Mengi just came back from Derby. Exactly. Hopefully he's fit enough to play. I think he was injured at the end of last season. I seem to remember. Could Jimmy Garner be our starting defensive mid? Look, the thing is, I actually do think Garner has got the ability to play for us in the Premier League. I think he's shown when he's on the pitch, mentally he's ready. I have no doubt about it. I think if we play him, I think it's a gamble because it's the most important position on the pitch. But I think he's ready. I think he'll move the ball forwards if he gets the chance. I think defensively he's in the right areas.
Yeah. He's certainly the blend of that Rice defensively good and also like a Locatelli. I'm not saying he's as good as Locatelli on the ball because he's not, but he has got that. He's the hybrid of like that type. He's like the love child of Locatelli and Rice. He's great defensively and he's really good going forward as well. Can take free kicks, score goals.
Everything you want in defensive mid is Jimmy Garner right now. So honestly, Garner needs to go to Brighton for a season. A lot of people are saying this, but I honestly think he can make an impact in the first team. I think he can be now what Matic was 10 years ago, maybe. Well, it'll probably need time to grow into the role, but hopefully
the best in the world, because Matic was the best in the world.
Okay, maybe I'm not sure Garner's got quite that high a ceiling, but
do you not think? I think he has. Personally, I do think he has.
Fair enough. Hannibal isn't in training. He was in staff duty with Tunisia and the Olympics. Okay, so Hannibal maybe won't play. Continue, Deck.
How old is he?
Jimmy Garner, I think he's 22, 23.
Yeah, and takes what? I think he's younger than 23, surely. He's not the same age as Tuan Zabi, surely. Why do I think he's not 20, is he? 21.
I've just Googled James Garner age, and the first results come up. Is James Garner age at death 86 years?
Well, unless we're time travellers, Cam. Unless we're in Doctor Who.
No, apparently there's an actor called James Garner. If you lads know who that is, please do let us know.
Yeah, I thought WP says he's 21. I thought he was 21. See what I mean, WP? What?
Wait, what? He's younger than me, lads. Jimmy Garner is younger than me.
He's 21.
Well, it says he's 20s.
Oh no, he's just turned 20.
Yeah, just turned 20. That's ridiculous.
You know what I mean?
It's very physically changed that for us. Yeah, he did change that for us midfield. They loved him. He was captain a couple of times by the end of the season. And look, he's with the Championship. I think Championship is maybe a higher standard than certain European top 5 leagues.
Definitely higher than
Uber Eats.
Yeah, the Uber Eats League.
It's so funny it's called the Uber Eats League. James Garner, just turned 20. Do we think Trippier is going to bench Aaron Wan-Bissaka? You think?
I hope so.
Well, look again. If we're wanting our fullback to create width on the ball,
I hope so.
Trippier is so much better at doing that than Wan-Bissaka. Defensively, he's not that much worse.
I hope so.
Yeah, with a bit of luck. I think it is realistic as well that Trippier does bench Jimmy Garner. But look, I think people are underestimating this. This could be one of the all-time great transfer windows. Jadon Sancho, Rafael Varane, Kieran Trippier, and Declan Rice or whoever else we get. That is a fantastic transfer window. It really is. Rafael Varane is one of the elite centre-backs in the world. All the things he's won mentally is fantastic. And physically, so good. But everything you possibly want from a centre-back. Experienced, a leader as well. Apparently, from a lot of sources at Madrid, he's just starting to become a genuine leader in the dressing room as well, which is fantastic. Adam Talk Sports has got to go now. Fair enough. Thank you for joining the stream tonight, and have a good night's rest. And we'll see you again very soon. I think we might be doing a watch-along for the game tomorrow, actually. So might see you on that. Right. So, Dak, are you about tomorrow for a watch-along? WP about a watch-along?
It depends tomorrow. I'm doing some directing things.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm doing what's known as a shot list in the directing world. It's basically saying, I'm looking at a script and thinking, how would I want this to play out? Because we're filming next week in Old Manchester.
Oh, lovely stuff.
Directing, really old directing, really old. Brill film.
Congratulations.
I'm not just a pretty face, ladies and gentlemen. We aren't getting a CD. I mean, I think we are getting a CDM, to be honest. I do think we are. I just do.
I just don't see how these rumours of going to 4-3-3 can come about if we don't have a defensive mid.
You guys, if anyone in here is not subscribed, I don't mean subscribed as in YouTube, but on Discord to the Muppeteers, they're just absolutely bang on. They just are.
You think the Muppeteers are good? They chat shit for a living.
Cam, they're unbelievable. They said that they said like 3 weeks before that Heaton would be on the 2nd of July.
That's the one they've got bang on.
They got Sancho bang on. All of Sancho absolutely bang on. They got Varane. They've got Varane so far bang on.
Well, we don't know about Varane. Sancho also, the whole football world knew that was happening. It wasn't a surprise.
Lad, honestly, they're good then. Really good.
Fair enough. I mean, they're predicting we'll keep going. WP saying we aren't getting a CDM and Sancho should have been done last summer. So in your opinion, it's actually an average window. Look, I think the whole Sancho should have been done last summer. I think that's a bit harsh because they were trying to get 120 million out of us in the financial climate, and for the money they were asking, it was a joke. And we told them to do one last year and gone and got him for 30, 40 million.
If we paid 120 million or even 110 million or 100 million this season, I think, yeah, you're right. We should have done it last season. But the fact of paying like a packet of crisps like a season for him, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous. And I think, I'm not sure about the Muppeteers, but I just don't see how we're not getting a defensive mid if Ole wants to go to a 4-3-3. Because McTominay can't do it, Fred can't do it, Matic can, but only for 30 minutes every 3 weeks. And unless he's going to trust Jimmy Garner, which is possible, but not likely.
See, WP says Muppeteers are unreliable there.
Yeah, I'm still not convinced.
When was the last time you were like, I had a look at what they say? It's not on their Twitter, really, that you should be going on. It's actually on the Discord and read what's being said.
Yeah, but I swear they just chat so much shit. They're like, they pluck a rumour out the hat, or ITK5 has said we're signing this player or that player. Yeah, I agree with this. I agree with WP. Generally think ITK type accounts are a load of shit. Yeah.
Some are. Some absolutely are. But then someone has to know. Someone has to know. And I think that, you had people like Mark Goldbridge who were 90% club last season with Sancho. Everyone is man.
We know Goldbridge doesn't actually know that stuff. He hasn't actually got a source at United. Whereas Muppeteers claim they've got a source at United.
How do you know that? I swear he said he did.
Well, I'd be very surprised. I think there's talk that he's a little bit close with Luke Shaw potentially, but
I don't know either. But what I will say is that I've followed the Muppeteers now for a year, and I've read what they've had to say, and they've been bang on this transfer window to a T. Like I can go and find things. I can go and find things, and it's all about how you read it as well. If you go and look at all the ITKs and all the contrasts, and fair enough, you're stupid with 100 followers on Twitter and stuff like that. But for them, they've got like thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of followers.
That's true. Ezra H says we've got many good goalkeepers, but not one great one. And hang on, before we talk about that, I want to say, Ben, I haven't managed to download the clip yet. It's not let me for whatever reason. I'm not really sure why, to be honest. I can't find a way to download it on Twitch. I'll try it on my laptop in a minute. But
WP, everyone thought that Sancho was a done deal, though. You had people like Howson from Stretford Paddock saying that he knew his mate, that he knew a few mates, because obviously Sancho used to live in Manchester, that he'd bought a house and a Range Rover. So it's not just Goldbridge or the Muppets. Everyone thought Sancho was a done deal. I thought United thought that Sancho was a done deal because they thought that Dortmund, A, wouldn't stick to the deadline, and B, would go, all right, we'll take less than what we offered.
Yeah.
So United didn't really understand not that they didn't understand, they didn't think that Dortmund would trigger that extra year in his contract.
Yeah.
And when they did, they could ask for the price that they wanted, keep him, and then they knew that they'd let him go. They had a gentleman's agreement with Sancho. It's also, funnily enough, did you not notice that the same thing happened this year like he did last year with Sancho? Was it the Nations League we were in, where Sancho wasn't getting any game time? Or when he was playing pretty bad. It's funny how when he's played for England up until when we signed him, he was pretty poor. It looked like he had something on his mind. But first game when it's been announced, he was awesome against Ukraine.
Goldbridge said Sancho was a done deal last summer. Yep, he did. Well, yeah. He thought it was a done deal or whatever. You think anyone could become reputable purely by just repeating what actual journalists say?
So,
you know what the ultimate example of this is? If you go on Twitter, MUFC MPB or whatever his name is, he just retweets journalists. He claims to have exclusives, all these scoops and stuff. He retweets journalists and he gets a few likes, and then someone criticizes him in the comments and delete the tweet. Literally delete FC. He chats an unreal amount of shit for a living. He argues with like 12-year-olds in the comments all the time. That is the sort of person. But at the same time, he's got like 100k followers or something ridiculous.
What I'll say is who's a reputable journalist though that you can follow? If you're following Duncan Castles, you're in a bit of you're in a bit of a bad spot. If you're following,
Castles had a source when Mourinho was at the club.
Well, yeah, but now you've got absolutely no chance.
But to be fair, things change. I mean, Jonathan Traeger now clearly does have sources at the club. He gets every single lineup spot on 5 hours before.
Well, yeah. If you follow him, there was a time where what's his face Ornstein was top as well, and then he went awful. Same with Whitwell. But the thing is that none of them know definitively. So, like, if I was to copy what I don't know, like I say, Castle says. If I went now and said something about he brought up about Varane and Chelsea, didn't he? Saying that Chelsea was going to hijack the deal. That's what Castle says. So, is that happening now? Because I've copied what he says. So surely I must be reputable now. Do you get what I mean? It's hard. It's funny, isn't it, that the good ones only pick the good journalists then? They must know the good journalists. And if they do, then isn't that basically the same thing? Because like if Cam just said, I can't remember the guy he said, but it was like 5 hours before it happens. What was his name?
Jonathan Traeger. Because every single lineup for every single United game, he gets it so many hours in advance. Easily.
That Norwegian guy you on about Frederick Fjell?
Yeah.
Also massively in touch with the Muppeteers.
Is he?
Yeah, he's been on their podcast.
Yeah, but I think everyone's been on the Muppeteers podcast at this point. They're just paying them. Luckhurst, Laurie, McGrath are the most reliable. Yeah, fair enough. WP reckons the most reliable. Romano, the athletic lot. Strager, the Norwegian guy. The Telegraph are generally reliable. Fair enough. Ben says he's got to go. Fair enough, Ben. Cheers for joining the stream and see you again very soon. Luckhurst is a Glazer puppet from what you've seen. Yeah, agree. I think a lot of them are. Simon Stone's the ultimate one. When he starts being negative about a deal that you're pretty sure is going to happen, you know it's going to happen because he's fed by the club. They tell him, right, that don't be too confident yet, and then he'll go and tweet something negative. And then 2 hours later, he tweets something positive, and you know it's done.
Yeah.
It's a funny old game how it works. I think the basic way to think about any deal is just think about it from the club's perspective. If you were United or if you were Dortmund in the Sancho deal, what would you be telling those journalists at that moment? And then you can see which journalists are briefed by the club and which ones aren't. You can
Let me just have a quick look. I've probably frozen just while I don't know if you can hear me still. Just of what the Muppeteers have said.
Yeah, have a quick look.
Okay. So apparently the last thing they put is Varane's basically a done deal. They've said it's done. Yeah, but we're not stopping after that. They still want Rice too, and the club can afford it. Camavinga's probably a no-go now. He's probably got no chance of happening. Certain they're still talking to Rice's agent and they want him, but nothing's advanced as of yet. They've yet to open negotiations with West Ham, but Rice would absolutely come to United. Once Varane is wrapped up, expected it to accelerate with Rice. So they reckon we're going for Rice.
I mean, also, the way they've operated this summer seems to be pretty good as well. They've always been working on one main deal and then sort of having early discussions about the next one. So to start with, it was sort of Heaton and Sancho. Got Heaton done. Then we're sort of talking to Dortmund about Sancho. Then got Sancho done whilst they started talks about Varane. Once Sancho was done, main focus now seems to be Varane, but they've had little discussions with Camavinga, apparently little discussions with Rice. So at least now they're running like a proper football club for the first time in about 6 to 10 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can pretty much guarantee we won't get Rice. How can you guarantee we won't get Rice?
I don't know how you can say that, to be honest. I don't know how you can. He's certainly not going to Chelsea, and I don't see how West Ham can keep hold of him. So where's he going to go?
I think West Ham can keep hold of him. I think that's the one thing. Because they've got European football, I think they can. I think he'll probably want to leave, especially as it now seems. I don't know if you've seen the videos, but it seems like his best mates with Luke Shaw all of a sudden. So
yeah,
I think that's even more.
Funnily enough, Luke Shaw was also best mates with someone else at the England camp. Who was that?
Bukayo Saka?
No, Jadon Sancho.
Oh yeah. Wait, what? Shaw and Sancho were good mates?
Yeah. I have heard of VS Grimes, Ezra H. I have heard.
Is Ezra H just promoting himself or herself?
Yeah. I have heard of VS_Grimes. I have.
There's another account on Twitter that's spot on at Scran United, I've heard.
Yeah, Scran United has got a lot of things right over the last couple of years. Mainly that Luke Shaw's world class. That's probably one that
a lot of things horribly, horribly wrong as well, but we don't talk about those.
I tell you what, WP. I'm not saying he's going to sign. But I think we'll put a bid in for him, and I think it will include Jesse Lingard. I think it's going to be a £55 million to £60 million deal with Jesse Lingard, to be honest.
So £55 million plus Lingard?
Well, yeah. That's what they value him at 80, don't they?
Yeah, I think Lingard's probably worth 25, 30. So yeah, that's probably fair.
I think that's the deal that we'll probably get. And that's all. Do you know what? I'd take that for Rice, to be honest. He's English, so that adds about 20 million on top. Yeah. He probably is a 35, 40 million pound player, ability-wise at the moment. Potential-wise, you could probably add another 5-10, so he probably is about a 50 million pound player of what he could be.
Well, one thing I'd say with Rice is the same thing we've seen with McTominay. He's improving every single season. Every time he gets on the pitch, he seems to be better than he was the last time. And the main area you see that is just passing. And the reason is look, technically, all of these pro footballers, you don't get to that level if you're not good enough to pass the ball 10 yards, apart from Fred, probably. But everyone else, you get to that level because you're good enough technically. Rice is good enough technically to be a pretty solid player at the base of that midfield, progressing the ball forwards, starting attacks. And every time he plays, he gets more and more confident. And as he gets more and more confident, he trusts himself. We've seen for West Ham, he's happy to ping 40-yard balls on both feet, out to the winger, up front, into space. He's getting them really accurate now. But also for England, as the tournament went on at the start, he was mainly passing sideways, passing backwards. And also, most importantly, he was only taking the ball really on his right foot. He wasn't willing, if there was a little gap that was open, but he'd have to play the pass with his left, he wasn't really doing it so much in the way that he does for West Ham. It's a confidence thing. And as Rice gets more mature, gets older, grows into the role, and gets supported with players around him, I think he can become even better. I don't know if he'll ever reach Locatelli's level, but he can become a pretty good player on the ball.
What I'll say, Cam, do you notice that he always gets taken off in every game?
Declan Rice?
Yeah, I think he struggles for fitness.
You think? I think he got taken off a lot of the Euros, but that's only because Calvin Phillips was the other pivot player, and his fitness is absolutely unbelievable.
I just think he always looks knackered from every time I've seen it. But past 50 minutes, he looks absolutely gone. I mean, to be fair, in the final, he was running his heart out. But I mean, I'm surprised he took him off. To be honest, because I would have taken off Phillips. I thought Phillips was playing a lot worse than Rice in the final. To
be perfectly honest, if that's the only issue, that's a conditioning thing. He can be conditioned and work on his fitness, so that's not a problem.
Yeah, it's definitely his passing. I mean, I wouldn't be against him turning into a centre back. I wouldn't.
Yeah, but again, it depends what we want to do. If we want to form a 3-2-5 or a 3-1-6, and Declan Rice is dropping into a back three, it's fine. And again, also, WP saying he's more of a ball carrier than a passer. Again, if he's dropping into a three at the back,
is he?
He can carry.
Is he more of a ball carrier though, Cam? Is he a ball carrier? Is he? I think McTominay is miles better of a ball carrier than Rice. Like miles, it's not even close.
I think McTominay's a really good ball carrier, but I think McTominay works in straight lines backwards and forwards. Rice can do angles a lot better. That's McTominay's biggest weakness, the fact he massively struggles in angles. He can go up and down the pitch easy, but as soon as he's got to receive the ball on an angle or turn on an angle, run a diagonal line, he struggles. I think Declan Rice is much better at that. Declan Rice is much better playing any angle around him at 360, which is important for a midfield player. Josh says, how can he go live with us? I think for today, we'll probably end the stream fairly soon, but drop me a message on Instagram and we can get you on for maybe potentially the watch along tomorrow or potentially the next stream. See how it goes.
What time is the game tomorrow, Cam?
The game tomorrow, I believe it's 1 o'clock, because I want to watch the F1, which starts at 3. But United play just before that, which is perfectly timed, really. So all well set. If you're busy, do not worry. We can. It's not a problem. We'll do another stream at some point soon. But yeah, we'll see.
I wouldn't go with Rice, but Rice it wouldn't be my first choice. Just so everyone knows that I'm saying we should get Rice. I think Rice is overrated. I do. I think people think he is this key to unlock a title. He can't pass a ball more than 15 yards very well. He's a side-to-side passer.
That is nonsense.
Cam, did you watch the first 4 games of England? He was awful on the ball. Awful.
Like, what happened after those first 4
honestly,
games?
my mate said to me this, and I think he was spot on. You tell me a decent, semi-pro / Sunday league player, CDM, that's 40, can't do what Declan Rice did on the ball. You could. Scholes could do it now. Scholes should come out of retirement and do what he does on the ball all day long.
What happened after those first 4 games?
He started passing the ball forwards 4 times a match instead of 0. And started running forward.
And have you watched him for West Ham? How much does he pass the ball forwards for West Ham?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you what I've seen with my eyes.
Now, a few things in those first few games. One, England weren't that great in general in possession. We weren't fantastic. It's a fact. Secondly, it's a confidence thing. I think as he got more and more confident, he got better at playing the ball forward. He took it on his left foot more. He took more risks, which is fine. That's what you want from a United player. The fact that he's improving with confidence tells you he can get to that level. You've just got to see it more consistently. That's all mental. A good coach, which mentally, in terms of that, the way he deals with the players mentally, man management, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is. We've got an individual coach now, Eric Ramsey, who can bring that out of him. I think Declan Rice can improve so much in that area.
If we can get him for 55 million, I'd take it now. But go and get Tian Koopmeiners, please, or Harry Winks. Go on.
The Harry Winks rumours again. This must be all from you, because I don't think anyone else at the club is. Well, I say out the club.
Technically, I work for Manchester United, guys. I'm a Manchester United scout. Under 18s, though, so I wouldn't be after Harry Winks because he's 24. Josh
says, do you know where I can watch the game, mate? I think it's on MUTV, but don't buy MUTV. I would...
Stream.
Yeah, that's what I suggest. Just go on Reddit or something to find it. Hang on, I've been just alerted there's... well... Yeah, this isn't good. Well, I assume it's not good, but on Twitter trends right now, Gylfi Sigurdsson is trending on football.
He's not dead, is he?
No, but he's trending with Townsend, which is not as much of a problem, and Adam Johnson.
Townsend? Who? Townsend who?
I don't know.
How do you look at trending again, Cam, on desktops? Because I never go on desktops. It's on WhatsApp, then, isn't it? Sigurdsson, yeah, Townsend, and...
Apparently Sigurdsson's been... So apparently Everton is signing Townsend, but Sigurdsson's been arrested for something similar to Adam Johnson.
First thing I see is Thomas Muller, because he makes jokes.
Yeah.
Someone calling him Guilty Sigurdsson.
Oh, no.
Guilty Sigurdsson, yes.
Thoughts on our keeper situation? Dean and David are both bench players for their countries. Look, I think Dean, the only reason Dean's a bench player, I think genuinely, I think he's a better ability goalkeeper than Jordan Pickford. But I think mentally he puts too much pressure on himself.
This is just it. Sorry to break up there. Here we go. Gylfi Sigurdsson to HMP Walton. Deal confirmed between Everton and Her Majesty's Prison Service. Sentence just needs to be decided. HM looking to sign it for 4 years. A player only wants 2.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Bernard realising Gylfi Sigurdsson fancies people under 5 foot.
Oh, no.
Cam, these tweets are awful. Someone's got to put a Gylfi Sigurdsson heat map 2021 and it's a prison cell with little.
Oh, no.
I want to see what he's actually been accused for.
I think it's nonsense. Rice doesn't pass the ball forward much for West Ham. However, they average about 45%. Muscle memory is definitely a key factor here. Rice will have to adapt to a more possession-based style. He would definitely have to adapt. But I think he can. I think he can adapt. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that he's right now a brilliant passer. I'm saying he can be a lot better than what he showed for England, especially in the first few games, and that he can definitely improve himself and adapt. All right, yeah. What's the update on Sigurdsson?
Sorry, I'm just reading. I'm trying to find out what he's getting done for. It definitely is the same thing as Adam Johnson, if you catch my drift. But what exactly? Like, what's he done?
I think that'll come out in the coming days, probably. But yeah, back to the goalkeeper situation. Look, I think Dean Henderson...
14-year-old.
Oh, Jesus, that's not good.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
These sorts of things, it's like a 2-footer. They are pretty cut and dry when it goes to VAR. He is probably screwed. Yeah. Not ideal. Right, anyway, back to the goalkeeper situation. Hopefully Dean had one of his own, didn't he? He had a little... Dino had a little case of that, I think.
Yeah, 15. But he was like, 18 when he did it. But still, it's a bit heavy, 15-year-old.
Yeah, it's not great. Well, it's better than what Sigurdsson's doing at the age of, 20 plus?
Yeah, he's 29, 30. No, how old is Gylfi Sigurdsson?
He might be... Oh, God, if he's in his 30s, that's terrible.
Gylfi.
Sigurdsson in the Monday time. So, yeah, a lot of Everton fans are saying right now that the signing of Andros Townsend or the announcement will be forever linked to this Sigurdsson incident, which
he's
is not...
nearly 32.
Oh, no. That's a shocker.
With a 14-year-old.
That is shocking. That's so bad.
He's only 13, Michael. Well done, he's 13.
Well, on that note...
Well, he's innocent until proven guilty, so...
I thought something like that was coming. But yeah, on that note, I think that's a reasonable point to end the stream. Not looking good for Gylfi Sigurdsson, and hopefully it's looking better for United, though, with the signings of Raphael Varane hopefully coming soon. So that's a positive thing to be thinking about. Much better than the Gylfi Sigurdsson news. But yeah, cheers for coming on and watching the stream, guys, and hopefully we'll do a watch-along of the United game tomorrow. See some academy players, hopefully Jimmy Garner masterclass. But until then, thank you for watching, and good night.